Well, thanks for having me in this morning. As you guys had a good session with us this morning about retail, I think Lazada, those are what we call um, retail. And for us, we are focused on a lot on the food side of the pie. So we think a lot about the omni-channel and also work with different marketplaces in Singapore. And we provide a platform as a service. So that's very different from a software as a service. Mostly that what it means is you will never see us, you know, you're around, but you'll see a representation and manifestation of some of the clients we support, and I'll share briefly with you. Well, we are based in Singapore, Philippines, and Indonesia, and our platform is helping different F&B retailers to digitize. And post-pandemic, I think this is a very interesting topic because we realized that a lot of retailers who have invested in the previous few years in digitizing and putting themselves on different channels and different marketplaces are the ones who have done incredibly well during the pandemic. In fact, much more than before the pandemic. I am Zui. I founded Eunoia about 5-6 years ago. And one of the goals was to figure out how we can introduce digital ordering and payments for the food industry. And I'm happy today that Eunoia is able to provide our service to close to 1,000 stores in this region. And we continue to work with good partners to help drive sales to our ecosystem. Now, post-pandemic, I feel that with what's happening around us, it actually accelerated the whole digitization of the entire industry. As you know, the food industry is listed as one of the essential services people need to eat, even with the virus ongoing. So as you can see, this has really sped up a lot of investments in terms of digital payments. Our government, at least in Singapore, has put in a lot of effort to get the merchants and retailers on digital payments. We've seen a lot of the malls. I mean, they are one of the largest industries in Singapore, the real estate guys. They've also followed a trend from China to invest into digital. And this is no longer a one-off project, but a deep financial investment that they are putting in to expand the business and also to help their retailers. And lastly, there is a lot of trend towards omni-channel. I think, as you heard earlier, it's a very big opportunity. Why limit yourself to one channel? You should be thinking about listing your products and services on many channels, reaching multiple audience. For the retailers, I think on the ground, if some of you are food retailers, you do see that there are a lot of channels being currently built or invested. Whether it's the airlines like AirAsia, I know SQ has also have their Chris Plus app. So ComfortDelGro has also launched an all-in-one lifestyle that will take over the current ComfortDelGro booking app. And that's where we see that there will be a lot more channels in the future for retailers to list on. And for the retailers, I mean, what we see is they're seeing the kitchen or a store, a physical store itself as a fulfillment hub, and they start preparing food. And if you can observe closely, there's actually 2 Grab terminals within a single store. So we're seeing the rise of virtual brands. So it should not limit you to having just a single brand, but you could do multiple brands. So I guess with retail, it's probably the same story. If you have your supply chain, your manufacturing thought out, you could also possibly think about selling on different channels. And obviously with omni-channel, we don't just talk about different online channels. We also think about how it relates to the offline space. And we do have a lot of partners and clients who continue to pay that 20,000-40,000 per month rent to the malls, and really that is to be present and create a space for a different audience. So in Singapore, there are a lot of prime real estates. The suburban ones are coming up, and having a physical store helps them as well. The challenge is also for the offline retail. They need to think about how retailers are going to be listed on different channels and marketplaces that are cropping up right now. So Eunoia, as I shared, we are platform as a service. You will probably have never seen us because we are behind some of the clients you see on listed here. So if you order food off the Frasers and the Point app, or the ComfortDelGro app or CapitaLand, it all comes through Eunoia and through the APIs that we provide to the retailers. So if you're a retailer, you're within one of these malls, you can choose to have digital ordering and payments next to nothing, and it is free. We also work very closely with the banks because they provide a very important piece of the user journey, which is payments. And they do embed themselves within the entire journey. And what we're learning is that some of these banks and some of these clients, they are also investing in trying to create a much bigger ecosystem. So all in all, I think it's good for SMEs and retailers because there will just be a lot more choices in the market, and you do not need to subject yourself to one or two big marketplaces. So as I shared, we work very closely. We're enterprise, so we have to ensure that our platform is secure, and we go through a lot of compliance just to make sure that we have the confidence of the enterprises who hire us to push to the hundreds of retailers that they work with in their ecosystem. And we work tirelessly to provide tools out of the box and apps that the merchants or the food retailers can use within the store. And I'll share some examples of how some of the merchants are using our system. So for example, in Marmalade Pantry, we have a POS vendor. We are not a hardware provider, just to be clear. We don't sell the hardware, but we do see some innovation happening because we believe in an open ecosystem. All our APIs are free. Once the retailers are listed on Eunoia, you're free to use the APIs to build POSes, to integrate into your ERP and have different payment modes. So here in this picture, we do have a vendor supplying to Marmalade Pantry using a POS that's built on Eunoia as a platform. And in Thailand, this POS vendor continued to innovate, and they understand. So at the bottom right picture, as you can see, there's actually a cash machine, because in Thailand they understand that the internet might not be stable. The payment infrastructure for credit cards is not too well accepted. Hence, they decided to build on top of the POS a cash collection machine. The other example is if you go around in Singapore and you see an iPad kiosk of a soup spoon store. It's also built on top of Eunoia. So the menus listed within Eunoia power some of this experience within the store itself. And these are some of the interesting things that we are starting to see. So as you think about, especially for some of you who might have a physical presence, I think that's where some of the interesting innovation could happen. You could be thinking about your innovative store within the physical environment, and you could actually think about ways to create user journeys. You could order through voice, through kiosks, and you could build multiple different experiences. So a bit of background, we are starting to help talking to different partners to accelerate and to reach out to more merchants, and hopefully our merchants will not have to pay us a single cent to digitize. So we started, like I mentioned, 5 years ago. We introduced PayPal one-click checkout where you could store your credit card, and it was one button that makes your order straight to the kitchen. It cost a lot of money, a lot of investment from PayPal to the client and to the government, but I think that's where we decided that there is a space that we could help to create a platform. So by 2018, working with our clients, we were able to provide digital ordering for free. So we continue to do this for our ecosystem. So some of the quick case studies with Frasers, they 3 years ago, they were starting their digital transformation journey. And one of the initiatives that came up was to help digitize all the tenants within the malls. So Fraser currently owns about 14 malls across Singapore, mostly suburban, and they were thinking of ways to better engage the shoppers going to the mall. So working with the tenants, the F&B tenants, we were able to onboard all of them, and we launched and has been running the system. Today, there's about 200-300 retailers on the system with their menus digitized, and they can accept payment from the Fraser's gift cards, for example, and multiple payment sources such as GrabPay, credit card, obviously, and also PayLah. Besides lifestyle apps like the shopping apps that is Fraser or CapitaLand, there are also what we see utility app. For example, co-working space situated in the city by City Development Group. They use it as part of their co-working space. So they're embedding such experience for the benefits of the users. And as retailers, if you think about where your store may be located, you may want to offer tenant discount. So there are some partners that we're working with who are able to provide this type of service to a new audience. So the other project we worked on was with DBS, where they use our platform to create a Shopify. So the goal was to create a $1 a day ordering system powered by Taylor. And we did that. So in this case, DBS was able to onboard their corporate clients quickly onto DBS, providing them with a Taylor merchant account, and the merchant is able to create a web store pretty quickly. So the first merchant, and they stay with us today, is Better Barista. I'm not sure if the Plaza Sing DBS Cafe is still open, but if it's still open, you can probably order off the phone. As a platform as a service, as I shared, you may not see us around, but we are behind some of the apps that our merchants use across Singapore. And with APIs, they can integrate their POS, print straight to the kitchen. They can develop kiosks. They can, put together queue display systems that you need within the store. So going forward, we will continue to work very hard to get our retailer ecosystem and all the feature sets that the food retailer will need, so that they can increase their O2O and omni-channel efforts. Yeah. So with this, you know what? I would like to pass this on to Q&A. I'm gonna keep my screen for now. Let me see. All right. Does anyone have any questions?
Not at the moment. So you guys, if you have any questions, just go ahead and leave them in the Q&A box. Avoid putting them in the chat because sometimes they can get lost. So yes, click on the Q&A button, type in your question. It will give you guys, I don't know, a couple of seconds, a couple of minutes to do that. So in the meantime, how are you? It's like, Friday, so the weekend is upon us. I'm pretty sure you have plans, no?
Well, for me, I have a couple of workshops to run later. And it's quite it's been an interesting time since COVID, because everyone's jumping into innovation and digitalization. So it's been a very busy period for us, which I think it's really helpful as you start seeing more new ideas and new innovation cropping up. So yeah, interesting times.
Well, these really are strange times. One moment everything is perfectly fine, and the next moment it all goes back to hell. It's really temperamental. I don't know, especially because I'm based in Malaysia, so things are just on and off again. At this point, we don't even know what's going on anymore.
Yeah, and I think one of the upside of at least the silver lining of the pandemic is people start to explore new opportunities to do things differently. Yeah, so starting from this year, we have been able to provide a flexible working arrangement. People can choose to come to the office or not. And in fact, we are a lot more productive that way.
I've heard that as well. And like the thing is, I always tell speakers, and we always agree that, this whole pandemic is really just given us the opportunity to just take a step back and reevaluate how we've been doing things for the past few decades. So yeah, and I think like the great thing that comes out that it's not only do you get to reevaluate, you also discover new things, not just for business, on a personal level as well. Like personally, I've gotten new hobbies which I wasn't really aware that I liked. So on your end, on a more personal note, do you have any of those as well? Like, have you discovered any hidden talents, any new hobbies?
Well, with the work from home, I guess the other side of me wants to get out more often. So I've been running a lot more. So yeah, it helps. I'm not sure if you've been to Singapore, but there's a green corridor that connects Singapore to Malaysia. It has been converted to running trails. Absolutely beautiful. I think to be able to get out of our place, the office, the home sometimes, to connect with nature, it's something that, yeah, it's part of the lifestyle now.
It sounds really fun though, actually. I mean, especially here in Malaysia, we're still not allowed to cross borders yet. So we're still kind of in lockdown in our own different states. There's no going anywhere.
I'm sure it'll get better.
Fingers crossed, because it looks pretty bleak at this point. Okay, let's see. Do we have any questions? Not yet, you guys. Once again, if you have any questions for Ziwan here regarding his presentation, just go ahead and leave them in the Q&A. We love questions, and this is like the perfect opportunity for you guys to ask away. Make them as detailed as possible, clear and concise, and avoid ad hoc questions, because those are pretty hard to interpret, when it's not coming from you.
Can I ask with the audience, is there anyone who is in the food retail? Because I guess for my presentation, it's very specific. It's about 44 attendees.
Okay, so you guys, if you are in the F&B business, type 1. Oh, okay, you can raise hand.
There's a raise
hand
hand
to do? Raise hand?
Yeah, there's a raise hand. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a Christina Kang. Only Christina out of 44 people, only one person's in F&B. Christina, do you have any questions? We have Andy as well. Andy, any questions from your end?
Yeah, and is everyone based in Singapore or in the region? We'd love to hear, what's happening outside of the region, because one of the challenges we face to bring retailers or help retailers outside of Singapore is, about the payments, because credit card may work in Singapore, but in Malaysia, there could be a different wallet. There's no such thing as PayLah, for example, in Malaysia, right?
Oh, Christina is working with Capital
Land.
Yeah, Capital Land.
A few years back. I see. Yes, they have been investing in a lot of digital innovation, and it's no longer a per project basis. They think about it as a program, as a product, as a complement to the main business. Queen's Bay Mall.
I'm starting to wonder if Christina and I might have gone way back. That's a possibility, because I have done a few gigs at Queen's Bay Mall. So Christina, if I do know you, hello. And if I don't, it's nice to meet you.
What about in the other markets? Are the mall owners or the taxi companies like investing in digital, hoping to leverage on their business and create a much larger ecosystem?
And let us know. We have about 2 more minutes before we wrap up your session. I think it's pretty clear. Like, there's really nothing so much to ask about. I don't know, it really comes down to the audience at the end of the day. Oh, you guys, you can always ask questions, right? Let's see. Okay, I think we don't have any more questions coming in. All right. So I think with that, we can wrap up our session here today. Now, I know that, you're busy and you have plans later on. So, I think you just disappeared completely. What happened?
My video got cut off, but I'm still here.
Oh. Okay, cool. Any chance you can still come on screen and say goodbye properly?
Let me see. It may not be my choice. Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay.
All right.
So I think with that, we can wrap up your session for today. You know what? I think it was pretty straightforward. Like the fact that there's no questions coming, it means that everybody has understood what you have to say. Look, Clarence Sutri said nice presentation. So there's really nothing else to say, but thank you. So on behalf of Extrovert Singapore, thank you so much for being here and a part of the SMA Digital Fest 2021. I wish you a pleasant day. I know you're busy and you have webinars to run. So don't tire yourself, get enough rest, stay safe, and hopefully I'll see you soon.
TGIF, guys.
Bye.
Exabytes. Grow your business online.